Good evening, race fans. If you were tired of the two super speedways we've had in previous rounds, tonight's race course at the newest old track, Las Vegas, is definitely going to feel a little bit different. Welcome to joining us on GridVision, and we're presenting the Ryco Performance Friday night top split here tonight. Rachel, Las Vegas, quite a different racetrack for these drivers compared to the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, it really is. Las Vegas always provides a unique challenge for these guys, and being one of those mile and a half cookie cutters, it can seem boring, but coming off the races we've just had, this will definitely be a different event, and it's going to put a different set of pressures on these guys in terms of how they run the track.
Adam Lindgren in the booth with Rachel Whiteford and Austin joining us in the producer's box tonight. But here is Las Vegas Motor Speedway, opened May 16th in 1971. We've already seen these drivers race here once this week, but Rachel, walk us through the track today.
Well, Las Vegas Motor Speedway, of course, originally broke ground in 1971 in February, so it's quite an old track, 53 years old here in fact for these guys, and it first opened in May of that year. Now the track, of course, hosts muscle cars various series. It is an asphalt track of a mile and a half in length, turns are banked at 20 degrees, front and back straights at 9, and the current lap record is Richie Hearn, in a Renard 95L, which is from the Indy cars in 96, back when they were super fast. So we're not going to see these speed records today, we might see some different ones.
Well, qualifying has just finished up for our drivers right now, so we're going to jump right in quickly to, I believe, our grid here. And there we see the safety truck parked on the side, but we're going to start off with our grid, starting off on row 1 with Clayton Hoffman on the inside, Garrett Maines lining up next to him, Nicholas Froman's going to start off in 3rd, with Junior Borborema in 4th position. Stephen Wilson's going to start off in 5th spot with Alex Murray in 6th, and it's Tommy Gossett 7th, and Miller Bonds in 8th. Chris Wilhite is going to start off in 9th position, with Joshua Watson rounding out your top 10, Rachel.
All over the place tonight, it's going to be Jacob Snyder is there right now, with Shane Davis on his outside. And we have Matt DeCaini in 13th place, with Paul Rigoli in 14th, and people apologize for these names. Patrick Gitter is in 15th, I want to say glitter there. Anthony Federico in 16th place, with Brendan Himmel in 17th. Tyler Marple in 18th place. Brad Newman in 19th. Patrick Moose in 20th.
Alexander Russell starting off in 21st with Johnny Baldridge in 22nd position. Then it goes to Logan Powers in 23rd with Jose Acosta in the 24th spot. Starting off at 25th is Jonathan Osahim. And then we've got Abner Acosta starting off in 26th. The last of our qualifiers today is Derek Heitman, and then non-qualifiers starting with James Holzer. Jake Matheson starting off in 29th, and Kwame Scott rounding out the top 30.
31st tonight is going to be Edward Shearer Jr. with Douglas Newbegin in 32nd, Jacob Cutlip in 33rd, Matt Parker in 34th, Maggie Magaya in 35th, Adam Benefel in 36th, and Luis Salamoso in 37th.
Well, as we wait for the pace car to take them off the road, Rachel, why don't you talk us through your keys to the race tonight?
Absolutely will, of course. Keys to the race tonight are going to be very important for us. Save your tyres. It's a mile and a half. You will run them hard. You're not quite flat here. You are lifting. It's very important that you are measured in terms of how you use them, especially if we get lots of cautions. You only have 3 sets behind the wall. Pit strategy is important regarding tyres. Know when to come in, which green flag times you'll come in, if you will come in at all, if you'll stop under yellow, and when you stop under yellow, because it's not every time. Don't forget to make that decision, and of course getting on a pit road will also cost and save you time. And the final one, it is Vegas after all. Be ready to gamble, because you're going to have to at some point. Deciding when to make those moves will be super important.
And we're going to take you through our picks for tonight. Very split picks today. I'm going to be taking the number 5 of Jake Matheson. He's going to be my pick tonight. Rachel, who's your pick?
Well, I think I'm going to be very, 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 very boring here and pick one of the expected favourites here, Garrett Maines. He's up there in second. Front row start for Mr. Maines. He should be good.
And Darby's pick tonight is going to be Schneider in that number 6 machine. Jacob Schneider rounding out the picks tonight. So varied picks for us tonight and varied entries for the drivers today. A very strong strength of field out there for these drivers. 5.7K as we get ready to go green here. It's a late pull-off for the pace car as they roll through the 20-degree banked turns down onto the 9-degree banked ovals, and here we go, getting ready to go. Clayton Hoffman's going to lead them to the line. Let's see whether or not anyone gets a jump start. We had that on Monday. And there we go. A start is good, but Garrett Maines out to a better start over Clayton is going to take the lead as they go into 1 and 2. But look at this, Clayton Hoffman strong on that bottom line. It's going to be flat out for the first 10 laps.
It probably will be. The tires will hold out for them, of course, but it's when you start to back that off and decide, I want to save a little bit for this race going forward. Maines being cut off very aggressively there up front. The 15 of Hoffman definitely showing him that he means boss here today. He's not going to give him an inch, he knows it.
Yeah, absolutely. Alexander Russell in the 23 actually fell back quite a few positions on the start of this race, so he's further back down in the 17th position now. But look at the front of the pack. Clayton trying to hold it on the bottom. Garrett Maines just trying to power around the top side. Looks like he's got a good run off of 1 and 2 this time around. He's going to be followed by JR Borborema, and he's going to try and get pushed on the outside, around the outside of Hoffman.
Yeah, definitely going to try for that one. It's going to be a struggle for the time being, so he's going to manage where he's going. 37 pinch there in the middle there. Borborema wanted to try and find an opening. Maines on the high side. Running pretty strong here. In fact, he could actually do that if they hold a bit higher. We've got a lane building up to the top. It might be more consistent to get him out front. I think it will do this time by the back straight. 37 going for the middle there. 2 looking down towards the bottom. Bit of a punch up here. Everyone's trying to get their side along the front. And Maines is going to say, yeah, not too early for me to pick a side. I'm going to drop down to the front and take the lead of this thing, leaving the 37 out to dry.
Big checkups on the bottom line throughout the mid-pack as they start going around the track. So right now, the top line looks like it's the place to be. Garrett Maines picking the top line. He's going to start racing the normal lines throughout this track. But still side by side for second between Borborema and Hoffman.
Yeah, an early, easy call there for these guys to make it work. So going to have to balance where you're running. Not being too involved. But these guys are keeping it green so far for us. 4 laps in, everyone's 2-3 wide here. Great racing on the trackers. Once again, a big block there from Maines. A little bit of wall action for Wilson in the 2. Here's looking as well.
Steve Wilson making that push on Garrett Maines as they got onto the front straightaway. As Maines slid up the track. Tires already starting to work away from him. You can see Garrett Maines dropping down underneath Borborema, who now takes the lead over Maines. Maines just extremely tight coming off of 4. But now we go into the corner once again, and Wilson on the way high side. We're riding on board with him now. He's going to get a little bit loose up there and struggle as he comes off the corner and give a push to Garrett Maines once again. But Borborema is going to lead lap 5.
Move there for Borborema. Gets himself in a good spot for this race, but just watching who's behind you because there's a lot of very hungry piranha there.
Absolutely. So Clayton Hoffman, after starting off the race on the pole position, moved back to the 5th position as he's starting to fall behind Brad Newman. And we're starting to string out a little bit into single file up at the front of the pack. Still a little bit of room to maneuver as the rubber gets laid down up there, side by side between Maines and Wilson for second.
Yeah, a good spot for this one. Nothing too dramatic at this ongoing stage, but of course there's plenty of time for that to change. We need to make sure no one gets too tricky as the race continues, but lots of time still. You have to try and balance how they play this out and how they position themselves. We said the tires start to ease away from them. They are, and we're already lap 7 here, so you want to be really saving some of that now, early on in this start of the session, because if you don't use it and do it now, it will go away from you before you can come back and get it.
Absolutely. Taking a look at the number 7, Chris Wilhite, as he's trying to in the middle of the pack there, and he's trying to duke it out there with the number 12 on track, but I believe that's actually Shane P. Davies in the official number 22, tucked in right behind him. So a lot of drivers, ooh, wow, coming down across the nose of the 79 there, trying to cut in front. So quite a few drivers still trying to find their place on track right now, Rachel.
Yeah, they are, it seems. Definitely trying to find how they want to run in this race and how they want to fit for them, but you have to try and balance it out. You don't want to get into too many incidents too quickly. There's some rubbing happening already, and you need to make sure you are not being part of a problem.
Absolutely. So Jacob C. Schneider tucked in himself. Looks like a lot of drivers picking some different lanes. It's Garrett Maines who's actually fallen off of the front pack. We have a breakaway of 3 cars at the front. Stephen Wilson, JR Borborema, and Brad Newman, who have broken out to about a 7/10 lead over Jacob Schneider, who's got another 3/10 over this pack that we're watching right now. But there is Borborema in that 2nd position, just trying to hang on to the back of Wilson. And it seems like the tires have already started to fall off.
A little bit, yeah. People started to really bunch up here. We've seen people who've been saving them a little better, a little bit sooner. I mean, I remember being in races like this where you had a setup on a vehicle that would run flat, and in my particular case, it was trucks, and it was a Charlotte, and I had a set that ran so fast. I could keep that thing pinned. I could do it for about 10 laps. I only pinned it for like 4, because I knew if I saved it and came off the tire early and respected that tire, it would last me a heck of a lot longer, and it did.
Look at this gaggle, though, from about 7 back. Everyone just bottled up right now behind Garrett Maines, who I believe took a little bit too much out of the tires to start this race. He's still racing a decent line, but he's under heavy pressure right now from a blinking Alexander Russell, who's on the high side, getting a push from Clayton Hoffman, who's also fallen off of that lead pack. They're still 2x2, but very packed up, and Garrett Maines extremely loose through the corner, checking up that bottom line. We might have a wreck here if people aren't careful. Oh, there it is. There's the wreck happening in the background. That was Logan Powers, I believe, who just made contact. Everyone's still straight going forward. That was 33 after down on the bottom side. My goodness, what a ride he just had through the back of the pack.
That's going to be very so he's going to try and work that out and find out how he gets back involved in this. For the time being, yeah, this is the usual. No yellow.
Yeah, this moment actually started with the number 30 of Anthony Federico, and it actually just kept on flying towards the back of the pack. Everyone just checking up. It was almost 4 wide at a couple of points, but the driver's still under green right now, led by Brad Newman in the 14 machine up front, with Steven Wilson tucked in behind him. But my goodness, a lot of drivers struggling with that condensed pack, but it's separated out quite a bit now after that contact.
Yeah, I think that's what they needed, it to separate out a little bit and not be quite as aggressive at this stage of the race. So possibly useful for everyone. We'll have to see if it sticks this way, but for the time being, yeah, good.
Okay, Rachel, I lied. It actually didn't separate out. That battle from 7th on back still is a complete gaggle, but look at the gaggle up front. Everyone trying to pick different lines to find the fastest way across the front straightaway, and Jacob C. Snyder trying to hold it strong on the inside underneath Borborema, and these lead drivers really have the luxury of trying to figure out who's going to hang on right now.
The 4 back there of Holzer nearly got squeezed into the catch fencing by this double stack below him as he's running the outside on his own here and making really good progress. He's up into the top 10 there from where he was running about in 20th place, so some big movement for him. Definitely what he needs to get done in this race in terms of positioning, but you gotta really think that's gonna be an interesting position to be in. If you can make that many moves on your own, this race could go to anybody.
Yeah, some of the drivers have been very vocal, warning each other about this pack that we've got going on right here that we're seeing on screen, telling each other to be very careful around here. 3 wide off of the corner there. That's with the 82 trying to hang on to that machine. This is with Clayton Hoffman on the bottom side. We've got company from Brendan Neal and Patrick Moose as their side-by-side just up ahead of them. So that's Clayton Hoffman who's able to tuck in underneath those guys. But my goodness, lots of chaos going on.
Yeah, very much so. Be careful about this. It could get much worse than they'd want it to be, but for the time being, it seems to be relatively well behaved. So keep themselves on track and on the road to kind of where they need to be here is going to be important for them. So Newman and Wilson, Schneider and Borborema keeping a good run at the front of this grouping. We've seen some bunching around Johnny Baldridge at the 31 and Himmel and Hoffman. Those guys really kind of meeting up that second pack.
Yeah, absolutely. We're seeing that second pack continue to battle right now. Leading the top line is Johnny Baldridge in the 31 machine, right on board with Baldridge as he's coming down that front straightaway into turn 1. And the drivers seem to have calmed down a little bit at this point, but it is a gigantic lead up to that lead pack. 3.3 seconds at this point.
That's pretty meaty really on a NASCAR track, especially about a half after only 19 laps. So definitely getting this thing done at the moment, these guys. As the 18 pops up to have a look here, that's Moose.
Yeah, and what's interesting, Rachel, is that your pick, Garrett Maines, was up there in that lead pack it led the race for a period of time, but at this point has fallen into the clutches of this bigger pack and is really struggling to get going forward as a little bit of a push there to the 10, the official 10 with the number 21 on track of Patrick Gitter.
Yeah, I think what you really need to think about here is Mains is in a position to do that, but it doesn't really matter where he is right now. How many laps are in this race?
Well, 134 laps
Exactly.
in this race of only 21 to go.
Exactly, 134 laps in this race. How many does he need to lead to win this?
Oh, big jack up
this
there
one
on
at
the high
least.
line.
Oh gosh, yeah, but he's going to go to the bottom here and probably actually get the lead from this point, but he only needs to lead the last one. That's all that matters. So sometimes if people are really trying to push that lead and they are fighting hard, it might actually be more efficient for you to let them have it. Otherwise, they'll get you.
Well, that's just it, Rachel. Garrett Maines is not leading this race. Garrett Maines, by making that pass, would only be up to 6th position. Those top 5 cars still 2.6 seconds away as Garrett's trying to claw his way back up to them. They've lost a decent amount of time at this point to the pack behind as the pack is stringing out more single file. But my goodness, we're still seeing action throughout the pack, especially from about 20th on back. Still a very big guy.
Yeah, I can say honestly, this is to be there. Right now, no point in it. We'll get a caution or we'll get some pit stops. They'll make it back up to the group. I think the guys in the front, Wilson, Schneider, Bob Raymer, Newman, Magoli, I think they're pushing a little hard right now.
Jonathan Osaim right back there trying to just hang on to the car, it looks like. That car looks very loose. We have some tire smoke up ahead, but Jonathan really struggling right now. His lap times are not looking very good, to be honest with you. All the way back in the 34th position. His last lap was a 31.5 to our leader's 30.2, so Jonathan really struggling.
Yeah, he certainly seems to be a little bit, time to be a bit more careful, I think, with these guys, but as it goes onward, it's about trying to just manage expectations here and try to not put yourself in a position where you could end up out of contention.
That was Patrick Moose on the 3rd line through 1 and 2. Very loose coming off of the corner. These drivers very much struggling with loose on entry, tight on exit. It looks like it tends to be the setup, as many of them are set up for the short run, but we've gotten into long runs today. Just like we saw on Monday, Rachel, long runs seem to be taking over as they try and go 3 wide through there before. Very loose off. It's James Holzer on the bottom side, the 31 loose, and there's going to be our first wreck of the day. That's going to be Jake Matheson, my pick, unfortunately, into the wall on the outside.
And where does this put Mains back up to the front again? So this should solve that. But this is definitely pit stop territory, I think, these guys. I think this is when they'll choose to come. We'll get this on your screens for you here and catch what happened. But really, one of those wrecks that could have been, should have been avoided. It was just too bunched up, but it all started with a car on the outside wall.
Absolutely, and you know, commentator's curse is definitely on those who we pick, and here we go once again, having it happen again here on GridVision. There's the incident, and my goodness, just too many cars in one place, Rachel.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it, or too many places in one car. Unfortunately, is usually where it wraps around. Yeah, no, NASCAR will happen. Off to Vegas will happen. Off to at any mile and a half will happen, and you end up with a giant steaming pile like that.
Absolutely. So, see the remnants of that wreck from the back of Moose's machine. Patrick Moose in the 18. He's back to 16th position with some major rear end damage at this point. But yellow flag pit stops happening now. You talked about pit strategy being important, Rachel. What do you think you do here? Is it 2 or 4?
4. Really enough that I think we'll see people take 4. They're taking 4. It's a sensible choice right now just to get those tires reset, get ourselves back on an even footing here for a restart. We're about not quite a third of the way in, but we're not shy of it. So you've got enough sets of tires before at this opportunity. I don't think it's the worst choice. I think right now it's just leveling the playing field back to 0 again to get ready to go, because border cautions breed.
Absolutely, they breed more caution.
Exactly.
Well, as we're here under this yellow, I want to talk to you about Ryco Performance, because Ryco Performance sponsoring this series for us tonight. At Ryco Performance, we're more than a setup shop. We are a performance provider, preparing you weekly with data and setups to get you ahead of the curve on the competition. Whether you're a seasoned sim racer or a weekend warrior, Our cutting edge data packs and one-on-one coaching sessions are tailor-made to push the limits of yourself and your virtual race car, giving you the winning edge you crave. Why choose Ryco? Expert craftsmanship by a team of seasoned builders, cutting edge performance enhancements tailored to your vehicle, and unrivaled coaching and reliability to handle the most demanding circuits on the iRacing platform. For more information, visit us at ryco-motorsports.com, where we build champions and deliver results. Back under yellow here, just starting lap 28 of 134. Rachel, it's been a fairly chaotic race for those in the mid-pack, but those top 5 really pulled away quickly. What do you think the difference was?
Clean air, not fighting quite as hard. We saw a lot of fighting in that mid-pack that really could have tied them up, and it will cost you track time. Guys in front just kind of parlayed for a little while and got themselves out of there.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we see the track conditions for the car today. It's 104 virtual standard time for these drivers, 66 degrees Fahrenheit, so very cool air temperature. Track temperature a little bit more toasty at 88 Fahrenheit. That's 19 Celsius and 31 Celsius, respectively. 17% humidity, though, out in the desert, Rachel, and that means a lot of tire wear.
Certainly will do, of course, and that makes a big difference on a track like Vegas. And the mile and a half really stress these tires more than I think a lot of other places do.
Absolutely. So as we get ready to go green once again, the lights are off on the pace car. Steven Wilson will lead them to the green with JR Borborema on the outside. Garrett Maines is going to be in third position. A great jump on the pit stops himself. But here we go with Steven Wilson watching off his left side, looking back at the 37 of Borborema, waiting into the box, and a late start for Wilson catches Borborema off guard, and Wilson is gone like a rocket.
The late start could be a really good strategy because it upset people because they just started to go when, and they decide to ease off their mind a little bit and boom, you go. So it can actually have a good impact.
Yeah, right towards the end of that restart zone did Wilson go, and that has strung out the top 4 already single file, but it's still double wide all the way back from there as we see Wilson, Borborema, Schneider, and Maines start to pull away, but can Maines hang on to the top 5 again this time around?
I think he will. I think he knows the lay of the land here a little bit better. I think he's going to try and do that.
They come streaking across the tri-oval one more time. We have a slow car on the bottom side. We're going to see who that is. Fortunately, not joining the track quite yet. That is Tommy Gossett, who's just trying to get some repairs done. But it's already single file all the way through 8th position at this stage of the race. It looks like drivers are a little bit more content to settle into a longer run this time.
I think they know it happened last time, so the chance of it happening again is quite high. And with everyone taking tyres really, I don't think there's a parity of different kind of tyre strategies here that will cause an issue, so should be okay for now.
Lots of drivers taking it easy, just hanging out on the bottom side. Not a lot of drivers trying to push very hard on that high side. I think, like you said, Rachel, they saw that tire wear come into play, playing a little bit easier this time. At our drivers streaking in to the corner, 95 on screen. That's going to be Nicholas Vroman on the high side, trying to hang on to those positions up there, tucked in behind number 7 of Chris Wilhite. Chris Wilhite, the first driver on the high side, and just trying to use that clean air to his advantage and get as much of that draft as possible off of the cars up ahead on these long straightaways. You can see the 4 of James Holzer pull in, right tucked in front of Nicholas Vroman. And yeah, these drivers looking a lot more content to ride this particular stint.
I think it's a good idea for the stage of a race here, 32 laps in. Riding right now is a good plan. It gets you settled, it gets you through the majority of this middle part of the race. And if you can ride a little bit easier on a brand new set of tyres, that tyre set will last you a good while longer. Given how long this could really last in terms of a fuel run, yeah, this could put you into a good position to take one more set and go.
And maybe a little bit hard to tell based on the camera shots that we're seeing, but I can tell you from taking a look around the track, things are a lot calmer this time around than they were at the start of the race. Drivers took those first 28 laps to heart and are absolutely playing it a little bit more calm this time. Someone who's stuck on the outside, though, is Miller Bonds in that number 12 machine. Just trying to hang out there on the outside. Just ahead, that's Derek Heitman, who took a little bit of a wider arcing line, through 1 and 2 on that outside line. But Miller Bonds stuck on that high side with Alex Murray underneath.
Yeah, it really is right now. Got a little bit of double wide, like you say, but everyone's really singling out. In front with Wilson, Bob Raymer, Schneider, Maines, Brigoli, Verman. It's staying really, really sensible here, though. We're seeing a bit of a break by Bob Raymer, and Wilson. They're starting to really separate.
Absolutely. So Borborema and Wilson out to about a tenth. Wilson and Borborema just separated by a tenth, with Schneider about double that, tucked in behind. A little bit of side-by-side going on a little bit further back. That is Newman and Vroman, who are nearly side-by-side. Vroman able to get around, Vroman able to, having to pull behind Newman there, as Newman taking a wider line, but it gets cut off by Paul Brigoli. And so Paul Brigoli's going to be stuck on that high side, burning a little bit more tire up there, as Newman decides to take to the bottom line and try and cut underneath Brigoli.
Yeah, quite in the dive there. Trying to put himself in a safe little spot, but for the time being...
Absolutely. So Brigoli held up just a little bit on the exit there as his nose was cut off, lost a little bit of draft there. And now Nicholas Foreman is going to be the back of this pack. It's another 3/10 back to Chris Wilhite, and then another 3/10 back from that to Holzer. So yeah, we have a couple of drivers reporting that there's been some wall contact recently. It's still side by side from about 15th on back. Doesn't look like everyone really wants to be there, but no one is willing to give up the momentum, Rachel.
No, they don't appear to be. No, everyone's running really clean race at the moment, so it's putting us in a good position for an interesting later stage of this thing. But right now, it's about managing the tires. It's going to be a kind of quieter phase for us, which might let us catch our breath.
Garrett Maines on the outside here of Jacob C. Schneider. Schneider trying to hang on that bottom side. Maines wanting to make the pass. Can't quite get it done this time around. Schneider, though, trying to hang on that bottom side. So two of our picks duking it out side by side right now.
Well, you love to see it, don't you? We're going to keep our eyes on what's happening right now, of course, but I think we've got something coming up.
Absolutely, and that thing coming up is going to be a small commercial break for us, but don't go anywhere. We'll have the rest of the race shortly thereafter, so stay with us.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the Ryco Performance Friday night top NiS split, and my goodness, did Jacob Schneider just have a moment on the bottom side. It was 3 wide off the corner between Borborema, Vroman, and Schneider very loose all the way through 1 and 2. I can't imagine that his tires are going to remain cool after that, Rachel.
Now, I'd say they're a little bit warmed up like a well-used slot machine right now, because that car is definitely not rolling on 8s. It's going to be interesting to see if they can settle it out, but we're seeing a little bit more kind of interesting behavior by some of these guys. Looks like a little bit angsty again as this run goes on. We're about just approaching 49 laps in this thing, and I think it's time for them to start racing again.
It sure seems like it. Paul Bergoli trying to make a move on Borborema, able to do so, getting ahead of him. But look at this, the front of the pack, entirely different than we saw before. Garrett Maines has retaken the lead of the race here at about a third's distance as we cross the line into lap 49 of 134, with Steven Wilson tucked in behind him. But then that battle for third position, very intense between Jacob Schneider and Nicholas Vroman. Vroman trying to get down on Schneider because the cars are starting to get extremely tight, nearly snap loose on exit.
Yeah, snap loose and exit is almost a Vegas special. It's kind of what happens here. You're in Atlanta, you tend to get it a lot. The way these tracks are set up, they're very similar in terms of all the banking and positioning, so you tend to get that usually off of 2, which is never good at these places. It always ends up with the same kind of behavior. But you tend to see cars peeling down, snap loose off the exit 2, and down to the inside infield. Often we don't get a caution from it, but we can if it's the crowd.
Yeah, we've seen quite a few drivers take that third line at the top to try and make some moves, but the third line doesn't seem to be developed quite yet, as we actually see. I believe, yeah, that's Steven Wilson who went up there in the third line just this lap to try and get a run on Jacob Schneider. Garrett Maines just trying to hold off the rest of the pack right now, as these top 4 really have been going at it like it's the closing laps of the race. I think they might be trying some stuff out for when it comes to late race traction. You can see Wilson looking to see if he could make an inside move, but that was Jacob Schneider who was there and blocking him at the moment.
Yeah, Schneider said no to that one. He didn't really want any part in it, and it definitely talks a lot, but Wilson's keeping his eyes open now, looking for opportunities here. I think he is testing as well, seeing where Maines is weakest.
It's our top 12 who have broken away from the rest of the pack. It's all the way from Garrett Maines all the way down to, the 11 drivers, down to Alex Murray, and then it's Derek Heitman leading the second pack that is pretty well condensed all the way down to 27th with Luis Salmaso. So quite a few drivers starting to find some separation here as we get later on into this run. We're 26 laps in to this run.
Yeah, 26 in is pretty good. I think we'll see them go. I think we'll see them stretching perhaps to about. Where would I go here? If they can get another 20 on this, maybe. I think that would be reasonably good. I don't think that'll see them to the end, but I think it'll see them to a pit stop.
Absolutely, and then they're going to be hoping for another caution at this point, but still side-by-side battling going on between between Borborema, Bergoli, and Wilson, as everyone's still spreading out through 1 and 2, trying to find those different lines, trying to find that traction, trying to find that clean air, Rachel.
Yeah, an aero track like this, clean air is so important. Not just for radiator, but for keeping the car stuck to the ground. They'll really need that to make sure they're in a position where they can absolutely get the best grip, especially with that snap loose.
Absolutely, the underside downforce playing a huge role in today's machines, and Las Vegas being one of our thinner tracks. There we see a lapped car that's Patrick Moose on the bottom side, causing a little bit of a scary moment for Nicholas Vroman. He thought about taking a low line, but Garrett Maines going to be way up to the high side, nearly hitting the outside wall, but able to keep it going. 37 of JR Borborema, really struggling there. He actually hit the outside wall a couple of times there on the exit of 1 and 2, but as they come off of 3 and 4, we're going to come across the stripe and start lap 56.
And Mr. Moose is one of those ones involved in that earlier incident we saw on the racetrack, the big one for so far tonight's race, but they're managing to keep this one well behaved for now. We're seeing some good runs by a lot of these guys, but it was lapping. They're coming out the 7, drops way down. It's Chris Whittle, who had a bit of a moment after 2.
Will Height.
I do apologize.
Yeah, Will Height ended up at the bottom, and actually that was because Borborema and Wilson actually banged doors in the middle 1 and 2. So that is what caused Borborema to go to the high side, and Wilhite had to check up a little bit, and that got him loose as he let off the throttle on the exit of 2. Fairly standard behavior from the car, able to hang on to it, but that separated our pack a little bit.
Yeah, it really did. And now we're seeing that Mains and Roman. We're seeing Schneider, and we're seeing Brigoli back there in the 4th spot. Wilson, Borborema, and Will Height back there with Watson, Holzer, Gitter, Heitman. I really want to say Patrick Glitter. I absolutely want to say Glitter. I'm sorry, Patrick, if you're listening to this.
Just one letter off, Rachel. Just
yeah,
one letter
it's
off.
one letter. Yeah, it feels like I'll get, you know, I'll get what's that game? We're in Vegas. I'll get 21 on blackjack if I just say add the L to the glitter. But we don't want an L for Gitter. No L for Gitter. A W. Yes.
Taking a look once again at Steven Wilson as he's trying to put a little bit of an inside move on Jacob C. Schneider here. Schneider up on that high side, just drifted off there. Everyone is still trying to find their lines through air, find that clean air. The car is very, very tight at this stage of the race. Halfway through, well, from what Rachel's saying, just about halfway through their runs, we just saw Paul Brigoli, we're just there in the background, slide just a little bit coming up off the corner, and Steven Wilson actually catches the outside wall. They're going to fan out in echelon formation coming through 3 and 4.
Yeah, absolutely. Yellow flag is out. We're going to find out what was happening here.
Yeah, and here we go down the front
I think
straightaway. And it's,
was
yeah. Looks like Luis Salmazo was involved in that. Taking a look at who caused this wreck, it looks like it was Logan Powers actually in the 28 machine who spins off the nose of Jose Acosta in the 36.
Yeah, unfortunately, that will do it. That's, yeah. Not how I wanted to happen, I think.
So taking a look at the replay, we're going to see this moment here with the 36. And there is that moment, just a spin off the nose there, and then just drifting up high, ends up causing a couple of other drivers to check up, hit the outside wall, and spin down to the inside as well. So quite a few drivers, a couple of drivers involved in that incident. Well, here's the best view of it. They came off of 1 and 2 a little bit close together, and then the 84 just sliding down the track across the nose of Jose Acosta and ends up on the high side. Yellow flag pit stops once again here. Second caution of the day, Rachel.
It is indeed, and we're going to see definitely tires on this one. I think we're still going to see 4. I think it's the play. We might see some Brave 2 choices, but are we seeing 2? We're seeing 4? No, we're seeing 4. Well, these guys are all taking 4 tires, which after the amount of laps we've had on there, nearly 30. Good call. Puts them in a reset position, and with this, we're going to be on what, 61? Looking at essentially 40, 70 to go. We're just under halfway. One more set left. Yeah, this fits.
Yeah, absolutely. Back to live here as we saw those pit stops occurring. Yes, like you said, 4 tires for most of the drivers. Garrett Maines is going to lead them off of pit road. Clayton Hoffman looks like he took a long stop there in the pits. Started off a little bit further in the forward in the pack, but is now exiting the pit lane in 16th position. But Garrett Maines is going to be our driver who will be leading us back to the restart. Jonathan Coltlip just up ahead of him. Major front side damage on that machine. He's going to come down to the pit road and take some repairs.
Yeah, absolutely is there, and we'll have to see how they get this one sorted out, of course. But right now, looking at how we have the runners, Garrett Maines leading the way with Nicholas Vroman. Schneider is in 3rd. Wilson 4th. Brigoli is in 5th. Borborema 6th place. Wilhite, it's been switched out for Holzer. I think he's had he's on track. Wilhite has still run as well. Geiter and Heitman.
Absolutely, that's our top 10 here as we're on lap 62 of 134. So doing some math, we're just about 10 laps off of halfway here about 5 laps off of halfway here for these drivers. And like you said, Rachel, it's time to start thinking about strategy. It seems like we were in for a pretty good green flag run if there weren't just a couple of mistakes. Do you think that will be a pattern? Do you bench on that as a driver, or do you expect that we're going to get a longer green flag run here towards the end of the race?
No, I definitely think we'll see one more. I think it's just with the way this race is run, we're likely to see one more incident probably There've been little things that have been later in the tyre run. I think as we get past that 25-ish tyre position, we will see at least one more happen.
And just a reminder, they have 6 pairs of tires in the pits for 6 sets of tires rather in the pits for them to take. Most of the drivers at this point have taken 2 sets. And taking a look at our big gainers over the course of the day, our biggest gainer so far is James Holzer. Currently in 7th position, up from 28th, his starting spot. So good strategy in the pits, good racing on track has gotten him up to that position.
Yeah, often the best advantage you can get are just by racing well, keeping clean and staying out of trouble, and you'll often gain a ton.
Not completely out of trouble though, a little bit of right front damage for Holzer. But yeah, a good starting, not a great starting position, down to 30th, but now has climbed as high as the 7th spot. And Holzer took 4 like the rest of them, so nobody having taken 2, all the way down to Maggie McGuire in 30th, who I believe just came into top off fuel this past lap. So quite a few drivers. Nobody's on a different strategy at this point. Everyone's on the same strategy, which means shouldn't have too many wild cards up here at the front.
Probably not, at least not wild cards directly, but I think we'll definitely see some moves.
Well, it's Garrett Maines who's going to lead them off with Nicholas Froman on the outside. Jacob C. Schneider is going to be tucked in behind Maines with Steven Wilson tucked in behind Froman. No surprise to see these drivers up at the front of the pack. Some of our highest iRating drivers in this session. A little bit of bump drafting of the pace car as it pulls off. Let's see whether or not Maines takes a late or early start, speeding up the pack just a little bit going into the starting zone. And a late start once again. And just like last time with JR, it caught out Nicholas Froman.
Yeah, a little bit. Just a little bit of hint there. It got him some notice, so keep an eye on how that goes forward. But if a good jump will set him off really good positioning.
Now it's time to readapt to the car with fresh tires, and all the drivers flat out through 1 and 2. A very compressed pack now as everyone gets their wheels back under them. A little bit more comfortable this time, but the front 3 out to single file as actually Steven Wilson backing up a little bit into Jacob C. Schneider as they exit 3 and 4. But Garrett Maines and Vroman, very aggressive right now from Vroman as he tries to get to the outside of Maines.
Yeah, an early positioning move for him there to try and get himself settled in a better spot for this, but perhaps a little too quickly for it to be a big impact.
So side by side for the lead right now as Maines gets a little bit loose on the exit. Vroman very strong on that high side. We saw a couple of drivers, I believe it was Holzer actually, trying to pave that third line at the top of the racetrack. So that is an option for them now as it's been rubbered in at this point. But look at this. That is going to be Steven Wilson down to the bottom side, making it 3 wide for the lead as they enter 1 and 2.
3 wide's a choice to make. I wouldn't say it's the right one. Maines drops in second place. Probably a sensible move there. Looks to the upside. Gonna get chased to the upside there by Vroman, so keeping his nose in the right place.
Absolutely. And you can see Maines get extremely loose through 1 and 2 because he had that air taken off of his nose. But this time around, he's going to go to the outside of Wilson, trying to make the pass on the high side, and Maines will lead this lap.
Yeah, I think it's the sensible place to stay. Is just not get too heavily involved in whatever this is about to be, because this has all the hallmarks of being a field killer. But I think they'll manage to keep it clean.
It sure seems like it at this point. Wilson and Maines have been in the throes of the battles all day long and still managing to do so. Tucked in behind them is Nicholas Froman. Then it's side by side for 4th position between Borborema and Chris Wilhite as they're trying to catch up back to the back. And it really is the top 5 under a blanket at this point as we start lap 68.
Got to try and balance this out here. These guys are really running pretty well. The whole field's pretty tight together, I'd say. So you got to really kind of be careful.
Big wreck in the back. Sorry, Rachel. Abner Acosta absolutely pinballing it off of turns 1 and 2. This was just a little bit of contact off of the 24 of Douglas Newbigging, and Acosta absolutely spinning through the field.
Not what anyone wants to see happen, I think, in this stage of the race. There's probably going to be a stay out, this one.
So Abner Acosta, there you see in the pits right now. Actually, that's the number 5, I believe, of Jake Matheson. Oh, he's racing. So that is Abner Acosta in the pits. Let's take a look at the replay and see what happened here. This one is just through 1 and 2. Abner gets a bad entry to 1, and the 24 keeps the power down and hits that left rear and destabilizes the car, and that's a hard hit, Rachel.
Yeah, that's one ready to loosen some teeth, I think. Would like to be in the real car for that.
So more or less a single car incident there for Abner. We're going to take another look here at the front of the pack as they were battling it out. And here we see, oh my goodness, and even more contact there towards the back of the pack, sliding towards the inside. And fortunately, a very light touch to the inside wall there. They back up the car and get going once again, but they're going to need 4 tires and might as well take some fuel. But let me tell you, split strategies here, Rachel. Lots of people taking different strategies, and one of the drivers to come into the pits for, I believe, fuel is going to be Garrett Maines. No tires for Maines, fuel. No, I stand corrected. Right side tires for Maines and fuel.
That saves him another stop to get more tires later on for at least another 2 on there. Oh no, he's got more tires, 6 sets, we said. Yeah, might as well stop every time then. Yeah, sorry, stuff that. Tires every time with 6 sets. I think with the way we've had caution so far, being 70 laps in, yeah, absolutely.
But the question is, how much of an advantage is that going to give you with only about 4 laps of green flag racing, Rachel? How much of an advantage does that give you?
Enough to make some good moves and keep it forward at the start of this thing, but you'll be able to go 4 laps longer than they do, which could set you in the right place for fuel strategy at the end.
So for reference, Garrett Maines from first position pits and comes out in 24th. It's going to be, about 5 racing laps they had on those tires. And our first driver to come into the pits for service was James Holzer. He did fuel only. Our first driver on 4 tires to come into the pits is Nicholas Vroman. He was in second position with Garrett Maines, and Vroman is going to be in the 22nd position once everything shakes out. So Steven Wilson will lead this lap, finishing lap 71 of this race. And I mean, Rachel, it's been an interesting race so far as strategy is concerned, especially now that we've got drivers on different strategies, starting to break up a little bit of the conga line that we were seeing over the course of this race.
It'll break it up a little bit, but I don't think it'll make too much of a difference because we're still seeing a lot of these strategies playing out from the start of this. It's just been interspersed in where we'd see a lot of the strategy with these yellows. So I think I'm be paying attention to that move for tires on this one. That could be pivotal.
So we've lost 3 drivers so far: Kwame Scott, Tommy Gossett, and Adam Benefiel, and Abner Acosta. With the damage that we just saw him gain, I believe that's probably going to be the end of his race, unless we get a severe rash of cautions that lasts for a good half hour or so. But only 4 drivers who are looking like they're out of this race so far, just past the halfway point. No surprise, to be honest with you, considering it's top split. These drivers have been behaving themselves fairly well.
Yeah, they really have, and it's a pretty good track for that. You see a lot of these kind of racing incidents happen, but here it's very much been just little moments and accidents. It's nothing people are doing on purpose, so it could play forward interestingly.
Your top 10 as they run under yellow: Steven Wilson, Chris Wilhite, J.R. Borborema, and then we got Jacob C. Schneider and Paul Bergroli rounding out the top 5. Then Jake Matheson has somehow recovered his way up to 6th position after being involved in that first wreck. Brad Newman in 7th spot with Clayton Hoffman in 8th, and then Anthony Federico 9th, and Luis Salmaso rounding out your top 10 as they run right now. We're back to 2 wide, coming around for the green flag.
Yeah, with us looking like we're going to have about top of this, just under 60 laps to go. This could be, or just over 60, could be a very interesting way to end this race. It's more than a fuel run, more than a tire run. Let's see what takes place.
Absolutely. Who will take different strategies? Will we be able to go green all the way to the end? Green all the way to the end will make the strategy the most interesting, but I'm guessing people will probably stay out and bet on a caution. But Steven Wilson will lead them to the line. This has been our 3rd caution of the day. The first one being a big incident involving many cars, and the last 2 being smaller incidents just involving 3 or 4 cars apiece. fairly low damage for everyone except for the main car involved. But as we exit 3 and 4 off of 20 degrees of banking down to 9 degrees of banking, the pace car will pull off, and Steven Wilson will lead them to the green flag. When will Wilson jump? Everyone else has been jumping late in the box, and Steven goes immediately, and this, because of that, catches out Chris Wilhite.
Honestly, that's a play. I mean, if the last guys have been going super late or super in the middle, just as soon as you get green flag, bam, off you go. Like, that will surprise people, and I'm vary my restarts, and people don't like it.
Well, Chris Wilhite absolutely backed up into Jacob C. Snyder and Jake Matheson on the high line. That was JR Borborema on the bottom side trying to make a run, but that high line so rubbered in at this point, they got good traction coming off of turns 1 and 2. But here we come to the line. Steven Wilson will lead lap 73 on to 74, and then it's going to be Chris Wilhite, Jacob C. Snyder, JR Borborema, and Jake Matheson top 5.
Yeah, good running by these guys so far. As I really want to keep my eye on what's happening with old number 1, Garrett Maines. He's in 15th, by the way, already, so he's moving.
Sounds like those tires definitely made their work for sure. Nicholas Roman tucked in behind Maines, as Maines is just up above of Logan Powers on that bottom side. We're going to ride on board with Maines, and you can see he's actually just drawing a little bit more speed than everyone off of the corners. Even with 5 racing laps, those 4 tires playing dividends for him. He's tucked in behind Alexander Russell, who he's battled with multiple times per day. Russell, though, did not take tires. He's the last runner currently on the no tire stop.
I think the big thing here with that is his confidence. To know that the tire call just gives him that little bit of extra confidence to make those attacks. And I don't know why you'd want to go to the back, I'm not sure, but right now it puts him in a very solid spot.
So we'll keep our eyes on Garrett Maines as he climbs back through the field. It's more or less single file from the lead on back to Maines, now in 12th position, as Maines duking it out side by side with Tyler Marble up there on the high side. Marble trying to hang it out up there, but look how much more speed Maines can carry through the center of the corner, and he even had to let off a little bit because Russell cut off his line.
He can flat foot this instantly, or as close to it as you can manage here right now. So that puts him in a great position to actually gain some track position here. And I don't know, it certainly puts him in a better fuel spot. Racing it though does add danger.
Absolutely. So Maines has to claw his way through the rest of the field, whereas Steven Wilson leading the field with clean air up front. Will that play dividends if we go into a long run? There we see Wilson up at the front of the pack with Chris Wilhite tucked in behind him. Jacob C. Snyder's been looking for opportunities to pass Wilhite. Not going to take a choice to do that this time around across the dog leg, but here we come into 1 and 2, and look at that run from Matheson on the bottom side on Schneider. Got a good run through 1 and 2, looking for an opportunity possibly to take a different line through 3 and 4. Picks the low side, as that's going to be Schneider up to the midline, trying to get a good run off of the corner to gain a little bit on Wilhite.
Yeah, it really is right now, and keeping it going well there. So managing what he's running with, just trying to keep this race balanced for the time being. Wilhite, though, doing a good job of this. He's holding it.
Yeah, I think that this single file line, everyone's spaced out more or less evenly, probably is exactly what Garrett Maines was hoping wouldn't happen at this stage of the race. I know he's got better tires and better fuel, but I don't think he can make it to the end of the race on this set or this fuel. Rachel, what do you think?
No, they can't. They'll definitely have to come in for tires and fuel, so that might actually there benefit Mr. 4 Laps, because actually having an incident to green yellow flag during the actual pit cycle, very possible, could put a lot of people a lap down.
Miller Bonds just had a scary moment off of turn 4 off the nose of Shane P. Davies, just coming down across the nose of Davies. Miller Bonds in that 34 machine, because of that slide, has gone all the way back from 20th position all the way back to 29th. So tough break for him as he's trying to now recover and cool down those tires. Hard to do here at Vegas with the lack of banking.
Yeah, it really can be. There's no real room to do that. So kind of balancing what you got with the race here. Looking at Jake Schneider right now. He's Jake Matheson. Sorry, it's the other Schneider, Jacob Schneider and Jake Matheson. We're seeing some crossover there by Matheson as he tries to find the best run through this. A little bit of a touch of the wall there for the 37 machine of Bob Arama, who's looking quick behind him, so it could play in.
37's been playing with the wall a lot this particular race, really playing a high-stakes game up there on the high side. Just trying to find some grip, find some air on the nose. You can see him pop just about a half line up there on the corner, and look how close they get to the edge of the track there coming off of the wall. Not quite as close as we've seen in other series, but these drivers doing the best that they can at this stage, but many of them just driving single file. Is it possible if the tires are that worn out at the beginning of this run, Rachel?
I think they can go up pretty quickly depending on how you run them. It all depends.
It all depends. And here we are with Steven Wilson leading once again across the line to finish lap 83. Back further in the pack, close racing between Garrett Maines and Anthony Federico. As Garrett's trying to find his way past Alexander Russell. He might actually get it done this time around. He's going to slide up right in front of Russell, and Russell's going to give him a push down the back straight. Perfectly done job from Garrett Maines to slide up into the 10th position. But I don't think this is where he was hoping to be 14 laps into this run, Rachel. I think he was hoping to be higher.
I think he was, and it's not where you'd like to be. It definitely doesn't help matters with terms of positioning because it's not the gains you really want to have for that much kind of cost. So you've got to balance it. It's top 10, but it's not the front, and there's still 1.1 seconds to the lead there, so that's a lot of distance.
Absolutely top 10 as they run Wilson, Wilhite, Matheson, Borborema, Newman, Schneider, Bergoli, Hoffman, Salmazo, and Maines, who just made that pass on Russell, as Russell actually seems to be sliding back, causing a little bit of a bottle up in the 11th position. Side by side, though, for Jacob C. Schneider and Brad Newman. Newman on the high side off of turns 1 and 2, trying to power his way by. It's becoming very clear to me, Rachel, that drivers are not enjoying being stuck on the bottom side exiting the corners at this stage in the race.
No, what gives you that impression?
Oh, just, you know, the fact that they're getting snap loose on exit.
A little bit, yeah. It's definitely not helping, so they've got to balance that one and make sure you don't let the race car race you, because it will do if you don't let it.
Well, since we're a little bit strung out here, it looks like we have a little bit of time. We're going to take you to a quick commercial. We got a yellow, actually. So let's see what caused this caution. Looks like it's Shane P. Davies. Shane P. Davies parked on the bottom of the track, the number 22 machine, and this was going into turn 1. Looks like he just lost the car himself, got loose on the bottom of the track, and went, wow. This one would absolutely send you for a night in the hospital.
Yeah, that's one of those bad ones, so thank God it's a virtual race car.
Yeah, that's an absolutely brutal hit. Thank goodness we are in virtual race cars. I'm just hoping that he wasn't hanging on to the direct drive wheel too hard coming off of that corner. So you've seen that a couple times.
Yeah, that could actually hurt you. I mean, even without direct drive, I mean, I remember trying to run around, I think it was Atlanta in virtual reality, and came off turn 2, lost the back end, headed towards it into a wall. I took my hands off the wheel as well. And it wasn't even direct drive, it's just panic mode. You don't want to be hitting anything that hard with your hands still on the wheel.
All right, so with Shane P. Davies making his accident, and most of the drivers probably coming in for 4 tires, we're going to head to a quick break, but we'll be back for the green flag. Don't go anywhere.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the Ryco Performance Friday night NiS top split race here at Las Vegas. Our top 10 coming down to the green is going to be Steven Wilson, Chris Wilhite, Jake Matheson, Jacob C. Schneider, JR Borborema, Joshua Watson, Brad Newman, and Garrett Maines, Paul Bergoli, and Clayton Hoffman as they come into 3 and 4. Rachel, what are you expecting? Can they make it to the end on this run?
Yeah, they can make it to the end. Are they going to? Who knows? Possibly not. It's 50 laps. I'm pretty sure they'll find a way to crash in 50 laps. They've been managing every 20-30 so far, so I don't think it's entirely implausible that will happen. But yeah, so it's going to depend. Here we go.
It's going to depend. Here we go. Steven Wilson leading them. Will he do the same thing he did last time and jump early? Or will he wait? Nope. Goes early. Catches Wilhite. Oh, Wilhite absolutely lost the start, and it's going to be a wreck from him. It's going to cause a wreck towards the back of the field. The number 7 spinning across the field. And you were talking about it's going to depend. Ooh. Well, there's your depends.
Yeah. This happens. Welcome to NASCAR.
So the question is, who came out of that the best and who came out of that the worst? Looking for drivers with damage throughout the field. This all started with, I believe, the number 7 car on screen. Yeah, that was Chris Wilhite, who just absolutely just did not get going on that top side. I believe was out of gear or something. Something happened with him and could not get going, but absolutely just pinged off of the nose of the 9. Let's take a look at this again for the top side. This is the best view for it.
Yeah, this is one of those situations. Bad restart just causes a concertina all throughout the field.
Yeah, unfortunately, not much anyone could do at that point as they all came sliding through. Honestly, not that much damage for drivers. Looks like the 3 of Nicholas Vroman caught a little bit of damage. Looks like the 11 of Alex Murphy sliding through the infield made contact with Tyler Marble in the 35 as well. So a couple of drivers making contact, but these new cars fairly strong. There you see Wilhite just absolutely bouncing around like a pinball machine there.
Absolutely is. And I'm pretty sure right now I can hear my producer's cat in the background. So we're going to talk to the cat. We're going to find out what the cat's name is. What is the cat's name, actually, producer? You can't hear him, don't worry. But I can hear a cat. Karen. The cat is called Karen. That is interesting. You go outside and call Karen. Karen, dinner. Ah,
Yes.
yes.
So
See, he says that the cat's called Karen because he is her manager. However, let's be realistic here. The cat is definitely his manager. That's how it works. I have one myself.
well, unfortunately, Austin, our producer, is my manager, and that means that I get the pleasure and the joy of talking to you again about Ryco Performance, because Ryco Performance, sponsoring our race tonight. At Ryco Performance, they're more than a setup shop. They're a performance provider preparing you weekly with data and setups to get you ahead of the curve and on the competition. Whether you're a seasoned sim racer or a weekend warrior, or their cutting edge data packs and one-on-one coaching sessions are tailor-made to push the limits of yourself and your virtual race car, giving you the winning edge you crave. Why choose Ryco? They have expert craftsmanship by a team of seasoned builders. They have cutting-edge performance enhancements tailored to your vehicle, and they have unrivaled coaching and reliability to handle the most demanding circuits on the iRacing platform. For more information, visit them at ryco-motorsports.com, where they build champions and deliver results. Rachel, I honestly have no idea who's going to be the champion in this race, particularly. We've had so many changes for leaders, but we have seen these top 5 realistically up at the front all day.
Yeah, they really have been. I think it's going to be one of those guys that we'll see win the race. I can guarantee, though, it'll be someone on the track currently.
Oh man, I was really hoping Karen would win, but unfortunately,
I too would like Karen the cat to win. That would be important, of course. It'd be amazing. It'd be groundbreaking. To be fair, I've never seen a cat drive.
I have seen a cat drive in a couple of
Wow.
GIFs. But,
okay. Although I will say, driving with a cat is also pretty dangerous. But that wreck at the start of the race, that reminds me of trying to give my cat drops earlier. That was very similar. Although the cars were me.
The wreck we just saw reminds me of when I tried to get my cat to go outside in the rain. So just wouldn't go even with encouragement. So unfortunately, that ended in the wreck of some furniture, and this ended up in the wreck of a couple of cars. Chris Wilhite still in the pits, just exiting now after taking some repairs, down in 30th position after starting off on the top lane for the restart. So just a rough break for him, just could not get going, bottling up the rest of the field. But I believe this is our 5th caution of the day, Rachel. As the lights go out on the pace car, we're getting ready to go racing again.
Is indeed, and hopefully the last, but I doubt it. We'll see.
Absolutely. So Steven Wilson has a new contender on that high side to potentially fool in the restart zone this time around. That's going to be Jake Matheson, and I will go through the top 10 once again because some positions have changed because of that incident. So Steven Wilson leads us off with Jake Matheson on the outside, Borborema tucked in behind Wilson, and Newman behind Matheson. Paul Bergoli is going to start off in 5th with Alexander Russell in 6th, Luis Salmazo in 7th, and Joshua Watson in 8th. James Holzer, 9th position, and Clayton Hoffman, after having a bad pit stop, and falling back, is going to start off in the 10th spot. That's your top 10 coming to the green.
Yeah, it really will. So we'll have to see how that one does kind of go out here into the end result of this. But you never know. It can always be a little trickier.
We're likely not done with cautions. We're going to start off this restart on lap 97 of 134, well within the pit stop window. But will we make it there without another caution? We will see. The pace car is going to pull off quickly down to the bottom of the track, and Steven Wilson will lead them to the line. Will he go early? Will he go late? Will he go in the middle? Let's find out. Getting into the restart zone. Starts off early once again. Matheson saw it coming, but not quick enough to be alongside, so that's going to allow Wilson to streak ahead. Still side by side between Borborema and Newman as they head into 1 and 2.
Yeah, making a good go of it here, trying to keep themselves in a good safe spot at the moment. As I'm looking for the one. The one's down there in 27th place. That is not good for Gary Rains. As up towards the front sharp end. Wilson, Matheson, Borborema, Newman, Russell, Brigoli, all making really good runs here.
Absolutely, 3 wide further back in the pack with Anthony Federico Patrick Gitter and Jose Acosta. Acosta, having gotten some repairs done, having done some repairs, 3 wide, 2 deep at this stage in the race. Drivers looking like they're in it to win it at this stage in the race, pushing hard. Coming down
Pushing
into
pretty
3.
hard, right?
Yeah, go ahead, Rachel.
Just saying, pushing pretty hard right now, of course, is where you really want to start pushing. We're coming up to those last 34 laps, which is where absolutely you want to start giving this everything. Position will matter a lot here. You've got to take early advantage. And if I'm Garrett Mains, I'm scared because I'm all the way back at this thing, and that is not a safe place to be.
Yeah, Garrett Mains collecting damage from that incident that we just had, so not sure his car's going to be at the top of the pack at this stage. Alexander Russell currently leading in front of the packs that are 2 wide at this stage in the race. Still side by side. Look at how much bumping and shoving there is going on in the middle of that pack. I would not put a bet that you're going to survive that at this stage in the race.
No, now is a little early for that to be on your betting card.
4 wide.
That's brave. Okay, we just went from blackjack to craps odds for a second there. So that became an absolute random chance game.
Absolutely.
3 wide at the front.
3 wide at the front. Yes, absolutely. This is James Holzer down the bottom side of Paul Bergoli and Patrick Gitter as they're trying to just hang on to it. They're coming off of 3 and 4. All these drivers really ringing it out there. Still 3 wide through the dogleg. A little bit of contact there between Holzer and Gitter as they knocked door to wheel there, and now coming through the corner. Everyone using up all their stuff right now and very loose on exit, seems like.
Absolutely loose an exit here. 3 wide in the middle pack, 3 wide at the back of the pack here. Everyone is going 3 wide. Everybody wants to have a piece of this. This is where the racing's really kicked up a notch, and they're going to get a little bit tense.
Very tense right now as the 4 stuck on that bottom side. Going to try and slot in now behind Paul Bergoli. Bergoli trying to power up, but my goodness, it's 4 wide once again on the exit of the corner. That was close, as that was Luis Salmazo who had to back out of it on the high side to make sure to not collect Alexander Russell. This pack right here at the back of the top 10 looks like they finally managed to even it out, but that was some scary moments.
It wasn't just scary, that was terrifyingly scary. They're definitely trying to get this one to have another big last final caution, I think. I think they just feel more comfortable if they could have at least one more trip down pit road.
Steven Wilson still leading the race over Brad Newman in the front of the pack. Jake Matheson last on the podium. Well, there is no podium in NASCAR. It's whoever wins, and then there's everyone else. But Joshua Watson in 4th and Borborema in the 5th spot. First driver really duking it out with a couple of drivers tucked in behind them. Alexander Russell in a good spot now in that 6th position. But my goodness, so many close battles throughout the pack, and lots of drivers really going for it. But looks like the lead of the pack once again starting to string out there.
Yeah, it really is at the moment. And Wilson is doing really well right now. Newman doing well. Matheson doing well. Watson doing a good job here as well as Borborema. Honestly, I'm finding it a little bit weird constantly seeing Matheson because it's the name of a character in my current book.
Couple of drivers really unhappy about the 3 wide that's going on right now, and letting it be known on the voice chat. But my goodness, look at how much aggression is going on right now. Still side by side between Clayton Hoffman and Derek Heitman. Boy, say those 2 names 3 times fast, one after another. And my goodness, coming off of the corner, yeah, it's going to be Clayton Hoffman with a decent run over Heitman.
Yeah, that's exactly where he needs to be there for this race, but trying to balance out how he gets that positioning into the latter part of this one. Going to be 28 to go, so you're going to be needing to stop, I think.
Oh, and don't look now. Here comes, don't look now. Here comes Garrett Mains once again, up to 14th. 12th position. Absolutely plowing through the field from that incident that he had, and now back up to the single file runners.
He really does, and I think that was...
Oh, sorry, big incident in the background. I believe that was with the 36 of Jose Acosta, yes, again, making contact with the outside wall. Wow, the 6 actually, through the middle of the field, ends up getting into Jose. We're going to see this here. A little bit of contact coming off of the corner, bounces him off of the wall, and that's going to push 2 cars down, and that is the 6 of Jacob Schneider that went into the in through the infield and manages to survive it, but that pushes Jose Acosta onto the outside wall, and that loses him a lot of positions.
It really does, and he's going to be very careful here in terms of how he runs here. But he's going to be doing okay, I think, as long as he can just keep this one together.
Up at the front of the pack. Oh my goodness, big scary moments there for Joshua Wilson and for Alexander Russell as they both made contact with the outside wall on the exit of turn 3. The drivers are absolutely pushing as hard as they can right now. It's going to be possibly 3 wide on exit once again. Nope, Patrick Gitter falls in behind Alexander Russell, who's alongside J.R. Borborema. And my goodness, these battles up at the front of the pack. Here goes Joshua Watson trying to go around the outside of Brad Newman. A little bit of contact, and it's 3 wide for second.
Matheson dives down low there, getting a good positioning. Will find his way back up on track. They'll give him room. 3 up for second place as Wilson looks back and goes, I am glad I'm not them.
Absolutely, and Patrick Gitter's probably glad he didn't try and make that move there on Newman. Oh my goodness, more contact between Newman and Watson, and look at that, that's Matheson who tucks in behind, but here comes Borborema down to the bottom line. These drivers very aggressive right now with the fresh tires that they have.
Perhaps a little aggressive right now, perhaps than where I'd want to be, but they're definitely trying for it.
It's 3 wide once again between Paul Bergoli, James Holzer, and Alexander Russell. These 3 were involved in some 3-way action before, but Alexander Russell cannot hold the bottom line. He falls back, and that gives a good position to Paul Bergoli, who's going to move himself up into the 8th position. Jake Matheson and J.R. Borborema still side by side, and 2 drivers way down at the bottom of the pack. I'm trying to look to see who those are. And we just had a big wreck. Just had a big wreck on the front straightaway. I believe that was Brendan Himmel in the 16 and Tyler Marble in the 35.
It is indeed. And this will be for all the donuts.
All right, we're going to take a look once more at McGuire, who just gets a little bit of a nudge from the number 5 machine down to the bottom of the track there. So just unfortunate moments for them. And then Brendan Himmel, he made contact with Tyler Marble through 3 and 4. There you see the contact, and then both of them loose off the corner, and Himmel just loses it and gets up into Tyler, and that's going to cause our cautions. Number 6 on the day.
Certainly is, and wow, definitely going to make things a bit more lively on the end of this, because now we're going to go back with what? It's going to be 25?
18 to go, I think? No, 20, yeah.
Yeah, 18, 19, yeah. It's not many. It's going to be definitely go time.
Absolutely. So we're under yellow once again. Most of the drivers are going to come in and take pit stops, so that's going to give us another opportunity to go to commercial, but we'll be back for the restart to bring you the final 18 laps of this race.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the Ryco Performance Friday night top split. Man, I'm so glad it's not Monday. But these drivers are probably wishing that they had a little bit of the Monday blues, because we've had 6 cautions so far. This is the 6th. We're just about to go back racing once again. Rachel, I'm a little bit afraid to ask this because I think I know the answer, but what's the strategy to finish out this race?
Woo, NASCAR is the strategy right now. It's go fast, turn left. There ain't no strategy left in this thing. This push the pedal and go. Make noise. You know, the gasoline to noise converter should be on loud, and it's hold on to your pants. That is the strategy right now.
And this is where we get into the conversation about these cars aren't loud enough. But here we go, back to green. Steven Wilson leading us with Patrick Gitter on the outside, so a new victim for Steven Wilson to try and fool. Will Wilson, will Gitter get the better of Wilson this time? No one has yet. But the pace car gonna pull down to the inside, and Wilson will lead them to the line, taking a slow approach this time. Gitter starting off a nose ahead, entering the zone, and Wilson waits till the end. Fools him again. Gitter unable to get going, and that's actually going to bottle up the field a little bit. Everyone really starting to pack together in the back of that pack. Wilson out free, and side by side with Gitter and Bergoli.
Well, I think you can safely say that the 10 did not get it done on that restart. I am sorry, I'll get my coat. But Bergoli is pushing pretty hard right now, trying to get that thing moving here, and just behind them, Mains. He's up in the front again, where he wants to be. This could be definitely time for prey.
Absolutely, Mains. Oh, getting cut across the nose by Watson. Oh my goodness, they're absolutely flat out. No one's lifting at this point. 4 wide as we cross the stripe, and everyone bumping and banging, beating and banging, and here we go again. It's the big one.
It is the huge one. We've got a guy up on top of the safety barrier there. We've got a good angle grind going there, like he's skating. Wow.
Well, I think we probably could have seen that coming. No one wanted to lift coming down to the stripe, and we didn't even get a lap done. Well, I guess we just got a lap done before they wrecked. Lucky number 7. Bet it all on red.
Yeah. Boom. Confetti. That one happened. But it's going to make things interesting when we shake this one around and see how it plays forward. But Main's up in third there. That is huge for him. Starting on the inside behind the leader. Big.
Ooh, man, yeah, absolutely. The number 14 just coming out. Brad Newman, really unfortunate to have that incident happen to him. I'm trying to think. I think it's the 52 who ends up on the wall. Trying to see who that is. But look at that. Absolutely jumped. I will take a look. That was an immense leap right there. I'm going to go take a look and see who that was, because we absolutely need to see that one. That was Matt Coker in the 26 machine. who ended up on the 50-50 grind facing backwards on the safer barrier, the 26 machine. Man, that was one of the more intense wrecks I've seen in a while.
It wasn't quite one. Yeah, grinding on the guardrail is not how I'd like to see a race car finish this thing up. At least no one ended up in the stands this time.
Whee! There it is. Oh, beautiful grind. That is, like you said, 10 out of 10. Absolutely would have.
Proud.
Yeah, gold medal from the Olympics. Oh,
The X
and parks
Games.
it perfectly. Yeah, skateboarding is in the Olympics now. Actually, they did the first one last Summer Olympics, and they're going to do it again, I believe, in France this summer. So that'll be fun to see. And unfortunately, the 14 pulling out of his box, pulling back in, trying to get some of that repairs done. But a lot of drivers having contact there, but they were further back at the pack than most of the top 10. But as you said, Garrett Maines in all that shuffle up to third position. Remember when he was restarting in 25th back in the 5th caution? That's all changed now.
Yeah, all the way changed. Definitely where it could do with being now.
So quite a few drivers in the pits. Jacob Schneider, Tyler Marble, Brad Newman has decided to call it a night in the 14. Jose Acosta in the pits again. Jonathan Olsaim, and then we have Maggie McGuire, Derek Heitman, Matt Coker, Nicholas Vroman, 19 minutes in the pits, and Shane P. Davis, 28 minutes, almost 29 minutes in the pits. So I would assume that Vroman and Davis are going to be out of this race. Drivers we've definitely lost at this point is Newman, Acosta, Scott, Gossett, and Benefiel. So tough nights for a couple of drivers, but the fact that we have still looks like 27 cars running and on the lead lap, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it'll make a big difference for them in terms of how they get this one out of here. So definitely where you want to be in terms of track positioning right now, in terms of how this race will play forwards. If you're in this top 5, which are some of our guys were expected to be here this entire time, apart from Gitter, who started in 15. Maybe he has redemption now for that restart.
And I'm afraid to mention it because I don't want to cause the commentator's curse on him again. But Jake Matheson has once again recovered to 7th position, my pick for the night. Garrett Maines, your pick, Rachel, still up there in that 3rd spot. We've been talking about him all night. Unfortunately, for Austin, his pick, the number 6 of Jacob Schneider, down in 23rd at the moment. As was mentioned on Monday, it seems like Austin's picks seem to struggle. So while mine almost wrecked out, Austin's not doing too great on the positions right now. And also, it's important to mention, Rachel, that many of these drivers may not know it, but they're competing for a championship here at GridVision. And so the fact that many of them were able to survive that wreck and hang on to these top 10 positions, especially some of the names that we've been talking about all over the last 3 rounds, we're looking forward to seeing who of them can clinch this win.
Yeah, we really are. So it'll be exciting to see how this race unfolds to the end. But, oh boy, is it going to be interesting, because it's going to be down to the wire here. It's going to be go time.
Absolutely. Lights out, and not quite away we go because the pace car has to go around one more time. Still looking at our drivers to see who's coming out of the pits. Looks like Jose Acosta is going to give it another shot coming out of the pits now. Going to join up at the back of the pack and get going once again. But let's see if we can go through the top 10 one more time after our 7th caution. Steven Wilson leading them back to the line. Patrick Gitter still on the outside because that wreck happened very quickly. Garrett Maines up to 3rd with J.R. Bobarema in 4th position. Joshua Watson in 5th. Luis Salmaso 6th. Jake Matheson up to 7th position, has recovered well. Clayton Hoffman to 8th. Alex Murray in 9th. And Alexander Russell survived that wreck somehow and is still in 10th spot.
Well, I look forward to seeing how this one shakes down, because it's going to be a fiery finish if this has been anything to talk about.
Absolutely, and pace cars exiting turn 4. Looks like we're going to be riding on board with Garrett Maines in that 3rd position, pushing Steven Wilson. We know that Maines is pretty good on the restarts. How can he do And how will Gitter do on his second time around being alongside Wilson? Will Wilson fool him again? We enter the restart zone. When's Wilson going to go? It's a late restart again, and Gitter knew it was coming, and so did Maines. Both of them off well. Maines better than Gitter, and Maines is going to have an opportunity to go to that bottom side and take the bottom line away from Wilson. Unable to do so, Wilson cuts his nose.
Yeah, he does, but I really thought that we'd have gone early. If I was Wilson, I'd have gone right at the start of that zone with just a few laps left to go. An early start could give you that race win on a later start like this. We're 11 laps to go.
Are we going to stay green? No, we're not. The 23's around. Alexander Russell around in the back of the pack. Looks like we're still green at the moment as they keep going. And no, we've got another spinner in front of the field. And now we're back to yellow again. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, typically there's no one within a certain time space of the spinner that will stay green even from the track. So this one just added to its own pile.
I'm trying to see who that was who ended up causing the flag to come out, and that was going to be, it was a kind of a ricochet wreck, but it ended up with Paul Bergoli in the 19, who ends up bringing out the caution after this incident happened with the 18. And then we see Paul Bergoli just trying to survive this thing, and like a pinball, gets absolutely knocked around and ends up spinning in front of the rest of the field, and he was the one who ends up bringing out the caution. But honestly, not much he could have done in that situation.
Yeah, one of those racing deals where you just can't really avoid what takes place, but, well, I've got to roll those punches and see what can happen now.
Caution number 8 on the night so far. We're probably going to go green with about 7 laps to go. So I would expect more flat out and less give than we have even seen up to this point, Rachel.
Wait, they were giving on this last restart? I don't think they were.
I mean, a little bit. But I don't think they're going to be giving any longer. It's going to be too close to the end. And then the question is, will we be able to go green to the end on this restart, or will we get into our green-white checker allotment?
I'm going to place a bet on a green-white checker. I'm doing it now.
I would not counter your bet, let me tell you. Not at all. But these drivers up at the front of the field, Garrett Maines able to gain 1 position over Patrick Gitter, so he'll start on the outside of Wilson. All right, Rachel, you said that you would start early last restart, but what would you do this time? Do you just keep playing the late game?
Yeah, no, I'm going early. Screw it, I'm out of here. See ya. Smell you later. You can't wreck me if you can't catch me. I'm going. Just restart zone hits the restart zone, bam. Off we go. Bye. Done it. Gone. It makes the most sense. Vary it, because they're not going to know when you're going to go.
Yeah, if there's one driver who's been good at catching starts, it has been Garrett Maines over the course of the day. He caught the start at the beginning and was able to pass for the lead before falling back into the clutches of the top 10. And he was able to catch Wilson's start this last time around as well, but that's because, as Rachel mentioned, it was a little predictable. But Paul Bergoli, after bringing out the caution, still on the lead lap, still just trailing back there. He's fallen down to 24th position. And with major front-end damage, quite a few drivers with major front-end damage. The car up ahead of him, Maggie McGuire, also with front-end damage. So a couple of drivers with a little bit less front downforce than they would particularly like, but it doesn't seem to be affecting them that much.
Back in the pack, you can survive a lot more than you might be able to out front in clean air, so but cautions keep them relevant.
Yeah, there you see a punched-in nose as we take a beautiful dolly shot around the number 12 machine, and that front clip could use to get replaced at some point, probably after the race is done. Maybe check in on the front frame, make sure it's not too bent up. But the best thing about virtual racing is we don't have to worry about repairing these cars. We just get to trade out for a new one.
If only real-world racing worked that way, everyone would be so much richer.
That's just what I was about to say. The cost is 0. So,
hey, how do you make a small fortune in motor racing? Start with a bigger one.
Well, I think that's true of a lot of life, especially here in the States. But Steven Wilson, I'm going to lead them to the line once again. Looks like everyone's eager to get going as we get back on to the front straightaway. Hoping everyone is that the lights will go off this time around. Obviously, the drivers know what's coming, and we just have to wait for them to cross the line. But the lights, in fact, do go off, and that will take us to the restart. All right, Rachel. Track temperature has gone down a little bit.
Ooh.
80 degrees on track, still 27 degrees Celsius, still 19 Celsius or 66 Fahrenheit in the air. A little bit of a cooler track. Sun's starting to go down, a little bit of shade. Well, sun's starting to go. Yeah, it is starting to go down. A little bit of shade in turns 1 and 2. What's your strategy here? Where do you want to be on track, high or low line?
Low and go like heck.
Low.
Straight up right now, it is time to just hit the hammer and take this one home. Just push it and go. Low gives you the most get up and go out the corner. High if you've got someone underneath you.
Absolutely. So trying to get some of that clear air, trying to get some of that clear track, get those runs going. But Garrett Maines and Steven Wilson very happy that they have no cars up ahead of him. Everyone else behind going to be stressing out about the 2 cautions that we had in quick succession on the first, at the end of the first laps of the last race starts. Ending caution 8, Steven Wilson will take them to the line with Garrett Maines on the outside. Let's see when Wilson will go. The pace car pulls off. Here we go. And it's an early start, like you said, Rachel, for Steven Wilson. Garrett Maines catches it pretty well and drops down in front of Patrick Gitter. But Wilson, off like a rocket, into the distance. Can Maines catch him?
I think he can, but I think I would have predicted an early start if I was Garrett Maines. So return to second is always the toughest one to do. Third is the easiest, but looking like it's going to be the rabbit was not quite quick enough to not be caught by the fox here as the 1 comes in now, and he's going to have enough time to do this.
Absolutely. Everyone's flat out throughout the field. Nobody wants to lift right now. Beaten and banging in the middle of the pack. Third position goes to Patrick Gitter as he slides up in front of Joshua Watson as they slide down to the bottom of the track. Steven Wilson still ahead of Garrett Maines as they cross the line to start lap 129. 5 to go this time around for the drivers.
This could go the way if they're careful. But they're working on really not being careful, so we can never tell.
We've had a spin in the back. Fortunately, it's not a caution at this time. Everyone's still plowing ahead at the front of the field. Patrick Gitter on the way high line, exiting with a decent amount of momentum, but Joshua Watson slinging up to the back of him as well. These drivers very tight through first through 5th positions. J.R. Borborema still up there in the top 5, but look at this. Garrett Maines tucked into the bottom line, trying to get underneath Wilson, is able to do so. Going to pull a little bit of that side draft and then drop down to the bottom line to try and get a good run into the corner. Garrett Maines leads into 3 and 4. Can he lead the lap? He pulls up ahead of Wilson.
I think he can try for it, and it's looking desperate right now. 4 to go here, and if these guys can keep this one clean, we may have a race in our hands. Garrett Maines and Wilson are really on top of each other here, and Maines is going to be strong, but Wilson underneath him.
Absolutely, a little bit of a nudge pushes Maines up to the high side, Wilson to the bottom side. He's going to try and pull the same thing that Maines pulled last time. They're still door to door as they slide down into 1. Maines squeezing Wilson. Wilson can't stick with it, but here comes Gitter with a head of steam, but he's blocked up by Maines. A little bit of a push through the straightaway, and here comes Borborema through the middle. He's going to try and make it 3 wide for the lead. Look at that, Maines taking away the middle line.
Definitely making a brave move here. Borborema gonna have Wilson, gonna have the 10 of Gitter. 1 out front. He's looking really hopeful, seeing the 3 wide behind him. We'll see it.
Gitter goes deep into the corner, trying to carry as much speed as possible on that high line, but the front right tire just won't give him the purchase. It's side by side, 2 wide, 2 deep, from 2nd on back to 5th. But unfortunately for those drivers, Maines commanding the field up front. We are on the penultimate lap.
This is where you want to be as the leader. You can run those both lines. No one's going to get a run on you if you can cut them both off and really get to drop them as you need to and kill any runs they get. So that's going to be important here. Starts up high, drops down low, gets a good run. 2 wide behind, 3 wide behind him. So almost a pyramid coming into the final run here. And this will be white flag this time. Should give them the no more wrecks causing any problems. White flag is out.
White flag is out, presented by Ryco Performance as they start the final lap. 3 wide, 2 wide behind our leader, but Garrett Maines pretty much free and clear at this point. It looks like it's going to come down to who's going to be in second. Patrick Gitter on the high side, J.R. Borborema on the low side. Borborema pulls in behind Gitter. That gives Steven Wilson an opportunity to fly into the final corner, but it looks like it's going to be free and clear. Garrett Maines, after having multiple troubles throughout the day, wins it here at Las Vegas.
Great run there by Maines. I picked him. I told you he'd do it. Garrett Maines. Yeah, guess he was right. That's me.
Rachel winning her first Pick. Unbelievable.
Woo,
100% ratio.
yeah.
Can't beat the stats for Rachel, but you can't beat the stats for Garrett Maines either. Front of the pack to the middle of the pack with an off strategy to the front of the pack to the back of the pack after a wreck, back to the front of the pack. Garrett Maines takes home the win. Patrick Gitter second, Borborema third, Stephen Wilson fourth, and Luis Salmazo rounds out your top five. But Maines, with the well-deserved burnouts today, he did it all here at Las Vegas, and he's gonna come home with the trophy.
Yeah, he is, and certainly very well done for Garrett Maines. I think we're going to head to commercial break. We'll be back with your post-race results, right? After he's done his burnouts.
Absolutely. Well-earned celebrations, and that will take us to our commercial. But hey, if you took part in this race, come join us in the GridVision Discord. Let's talk to you after this commercial break. Welcome back to the Ryco Performance Friday Night Top Split at Las Vegas, the third round of the season, and Garrett Maines takes home the win after being everywhere throughout the pack throughout the field's day. Patrick Gitter comes home in second position from 15th on the grid. A great drive for him. J.R. Borborema finishes in third position with Stephen Wilson in fourth, and Luis Salmazo finishing in the fifth spot. A great climb as well. Joshua Watson in sixth with Chris Wilhite, even after having a couple wrecks himself, finishing in seventh position. Jake Matheson, my pick, finishing in eighth with Alex Murray in ninth, and Jacob Schneider rounding out your top 10.
No, well, Logan Powers is in 11th place with Douglas Biggin in 12th place. Clayton Hoffman is in 13th, James Holzer in 14th, Brendan Himmel in 15th, Edward Schreier Jr. 16th place, Jonathan Cutlip 17th, Matt DeCanny in 18th, Jonathan Oshlim in 19th, Anthony Federico in 20th.
Well, that wraps up your unofficial results top 20 for the Ryco Performance Friday Night Top Split. But now we have Garrett Maines, who's going to join us to talk about the win tonight. Yeah, Garrett, with a great win over the evening. We're going to see if we can get him in here. Garrett, you had a good race tonight. You gained one position over the course of the evening. Just kind of a sleepy evening for you, right?
Man, I really did not think we were going to be in contention for that race after the stack up. I guess he missed a shift on the start. We went from leading to playing a bad strategy that bit us to getting wrecked on the restart when we were rebounding to having to come from, freaking 30th, I don't know, with 40 to go. And I really didn't think, we were going to be in a position to be able to get by Steven. I think it was about 10 to go and we lined up 4th on the restart. And I think those are the best restarts that I've had in like the entire month, probably all year. If I didn't get those, I don't think I would have been in contention for the race. But huge shout out to Patrick Gitter there pushing me off of turn 4. That made the difference for sure. And Ryco just put together a rocket. That was insane how I was able to stick it down there on the bottom and on the top when I was making those passes. Like, it just had so much speed. So shout out to all the guys over there that put in all the work on the car. It's been phenomenal racing with them.
Yeah, your Ryco Performance machine seemed to be able to get those get the speed on the restarts, especially as we got into, you know, lap 10 or 12 of a restart. You seem to have a lot more speed over the rest of the drivers. Was that all on tire saving, or were you just going flat out?
Well, so on the beginning of the runs, especially at the beginning of the race, I was actually in fuel save mode because I thought I might be able to make it. Then I realized with the track temp and air temp, that was not the case. So I started to pick up the pace and thankfully got a yellow because they kind of broke in the draft. It was going to be a long shot to try to make that up. But, you know, we always tried to start off the run a little bit more conservative, and the way those cautions kept falling at the end, it really wasn't an option for us anymore. And so, you know, you started seeing us towards the front earlier on, but it was one of those races where it really got to the point where everybody was just driving hard, and it was tire management at the minimum, but like, can you just save more than the guy behind you? And it was, you know, just a relentless attack of one after another, people burning their stuff up and coming back for more. So it was a good race though overall. I mean, I enjoyed it. I'm glad to have finally got one of these because I feel like I keep being right there like Monday night, and something goes wrong. So nice to be able to complete the job.
Garrett, as we await to see whether any more of our podium finishers come in, you did seem to have really good restarts tonight. You seemed to get good jumps, especially on Steven Wilson towards the end of the race. Was there any strategy to that, or was that just you were good at anticipating today?
I don't know where it came from, but that was probably my best anticipations, because the only strategy was don't get black flagged right here. I kind of thought I was screwed when I started second, but I was able to get clear and get her, and that was game changer. If I'd got stuck on the top or not been able to get down, it probably would have been a different race. So that was the you know, moment of the race for me to be able to make the fight.
Well, Garrett, huge congratulations on the win today. A extremely hard-fought victory. Is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, absolutely. Gotta give a huge shout out to MCU Body, Linux, Left Court Brothers, the guys at FGR Excel, and once again, huge shout out to Ryco for all the hard work they put in these cars. It's nice to be able to get the results for them.
Well, thanks for chatting to us, Garrett. Garrett Maines, our winner here tonight at Las Vegas, and it doesn't look like we have anyone else to talk to tonight, so I believe that's going to be closing us out today. We want to give, sorry, go ahead one more time, Austin. Yeah, absolutely. So we want to give a big, huge thank you from the entire GridVision team to you, our chat, for watching and participating. We know that we had people out there cheering for JR Borborema quite a few times throughout there, so thanks for joining us. For more information on getting your league broadcasted here, or starting your career in broadcasting like myself and Rachel here, contact us on Facebook or the app known as X, or email us at info@gridvision.live. Special thanks to Andrew Cardinale of Whiplash Sim Cams, providing us the cams that were used on today's broadcast. And congrats once again to Garrett Maines on winning tonight's race from Las Vegas. This has been Adam Lindgren, Rachel Whiteford, and our producer, Austin, once again for joining us on this race, and we'll see you next time on The Grid.